UConn head baseball coach Jim Penders, and the college baseball season is over, but it's not really over. This is a busy time of the year for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really busy. We since our season ended a little bit more prematurely than we would have liked, and since then I think we've had. I know I've had one off day. I don't know if the assistants have had an off day yet, but it's a hustle now. You want to see as many players as you can in a short amount of time while the weather is still good, and in this part of the country that means that it gets compressed into June and July and a little bit into August, where you got to really be hustling and see as many potential recruits and potential Huskies as we can.
Well, you talked about the season ending prematurely, but let's talk about the incoming class and what you have to look forward to next year.
Yeah, we're always looking forward to it. You know, it's our freshmen, our incoming freshmen, all arrive on Sunday, and they're going to begin classes on Monday, which is exciting. There's a start strength and conditioning, and we've got a few exciting players from the state of Connecticut. We lost a couple in the draft that we were counting on, but we're very excited about the guys that we actually have coming. We have a guy down from East Haven, Connecticut, Nick Lamberti. We've got Wills Montgomery coming from Salisbury School, Willie Yan from Housatonic Regional, and Joe Rivera from Southington High School. Those are four of the in-state guys, and we've got a couple guys from Rhode Island and Massachusetts to complement them, and looking forward to seeing what they can do in the fall. We just hope we don't have to rely on freshmen too much.
Right. I think we sound like a broken record every time we see you, but you make recruiting the state a priority, don't you?
Yeah, we try to keep the best players in state. You know, that's number one. That's the number one goal every year. You want to identify and cultivate and eventually recruit the best in the state. And I think we've done a good job of that. It's never ending.
Yeah.
And you always make some mistakes too. You know, occasionally you'll let a guy outside the state and it'll end up beating you on a Tuesday or worse on a Saturday or a Sunday. But we've managed to keep, ever since the guys that are in the big leagues right now, like guys like George Springer and Mike Olt and Matt Barnes knocking on the door of the big leagues, Greg Napo, all in-state guys that we managed to keep. It's kind of paved the way for that kind of philosophy.
What does it say about your program that right now you have 3 in the big leagues, potentially Matt knocking on the door, could be 4 right away? What does it say about your program and about those guys individually?
I don't know what it says about the program other than the fact that we have coaches have a tough time looking back. We have a tough time looking in the rearview mirror. I think it says a lot about the culture that we've created. I think that it says a lot about the competitiveness and ultimately the ability of the Connecticut baseball player. To take him, to believe in himself, and that he can go to good old State U here in Storrs, Connecticut, and get the exposure that he needs, the development that he needs to get, a real shot in professional baseball. And these guys not only got their shot, but they're making the most of it. And our guys have, progressed very quickly, and we're super proud of them. So when I say I don't like to look back, I like to reminisce every once in a while, but it's not going to help us win games in 2015. But I do enjoy following them a great deal.
And I know you're really busy trying to continue this program on the right path, but when you sit and you watch what George Springer has done since being called up to the big leagues, are you even amazed?
Everybody asks me, are you surprised? I'm not really surprised. I always expected him, I think from freshman year when he really established himself with us. He's just a different kid, and there's no other way to describe it. I never run out of stories for him. He left such an amazing imprint on our program, not just with his baseball play, but with his huge personality.
Yeah.
And dynamic nature. But you're seeing, what I get a big kick out of is those home runs are something else, and how far they're going. But we've seen him do that for a long time. What I'm getting just as big a kick out of is that he's got a different handshake, a different dance for every one of his teammates when he gets in the dugout. And I also get a kick out of just seeing him come round third. He runs around third like he's never hit one, and he always looks surprised.
Yeah.
And he's never lost that boyhood enthusiasm for the game and for the people who play it. So I get a big kick out of watching him, and now I get to watch Nick Ahmed and Mike Olt too, and the remote gets a workout when they're all on.
And Nick just got called up the other day and 1 for 3 in his debut. No surprise that he was able to come up and step in and contribute right away.
He just works so hard, John. He's just such a gamer. His preparation is second to none. When he was here, the lights at the batting pitching facility were always on all hours of the night, and it was usually him and John Andrioli, trying to outwork one another. Maybe Billy Farrett would sneak in there too, but that's kind of the standard for our program. We say you gotta learn from And that might be the impact that they have. I can say to our current players and to our recruits too, look at these guys. This is how you do it right. And he's one of the guys who's always done it right. I remember on this field, he had a collapsed lung against Quinnipiac, and he managed to stay in the game and make his way out to shortstop before his second baseman had to say, "Coach, I think something's wrong with Nick." And sure enough, he's in the hospital for a couple weeks, and survives and thrives in the Big East tournament. He made it back for it, and then the NCAA regional that year. He was just fantastic and just tough.
And then you have Mike, who had a little taste with Texas. Now he's up in Chicago, got a chance to start for a bit. He's struggling a little bit. Do you think he'll come around eventually?
Yeah, Mike's always been streaky, and now, it looks as though he's getting chances against lefties, and, that's tough because you got to sit on the bench and wait. And I know one thing about Mike is that his attitude will never go negative. He's never even going to be neutral. He's always going to be positive, and he believes the next hot streak is with the next swing of the bat, and that's kind of the way he's always been. And I'm sure that he's not happy with where he's at statistically, but he's going to keep working to get better, and I expect him to come out of it any day. The next swing could be the start of it.
Obviously they have coaches in the big leagues that can help them out, but how often do you hear from these guys sending you texts? Because here, I'm sure there are a lot of great memories built, and I'm sure it's kind of nice to fall back on a positive, memory or coaching experience. Do you hear from these guys often, exchange texts?
Yeah, we do. It is more text than anything because their schedules are so goofy, flying all over the country, and my schedule's not all that easy to track me down via, the phone, but we do check in, several times via text, and if they have a good game, and even if they're not doing so well, I just shot Mike one the other day, just hang in there, and he will. But it's great to stay in touch and to see them, to see the other guys. I'll snoop on them on Twitter or check out their conversations every once in a while, and they're all staying in touch, and they're all enjoying each other's success just as they did when they were in our dugout here.
George, you talk about that smile. I remember just watching him and that ball jumping off his bat from his freshman year and that big smile. Do you think that's something he'll ever lose, or is he always going to love the game no matter how much success he has?
I've never coached a guy that's loved the game more than he has, and loved the people who play it and coach it and are around it more than he does. It's really, it gets him going in the morning, and everybody that was around him, you could feel that. So you'd feed off of it, so his teammates really benefited from it. Our coaches benefited from it because he just brought such energy on the bus, in the locker room, in the dugout, in center field, everywhere he went. There's life, there's energy, there's passion. Yeah. And I think that has a lot to do with the folks that he comes from and the community that he comes from. I'd like to think that maybe UConn had a little bit something to do with it too.